Hello and welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I talk to interesting strangers every single week. Today we have
Shle Berry.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's rainy.
Yeah, it's kind of sad out there.
I'm down in the dumps, but
Are you?
yeah, the weather like really affects my mood.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hear you.
I have like, I guess they call. Yeah, I guess
depression?
I don't want to make it seem that.
I mean, it's
dramatic,
a real
but,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's going to be bad for a while. I feel like too.
know, it's just like that
we're never
time
going
of
to get out of
year.
it.
It's either
terrible.
snowing or raining, and then all of a sudden summer's there and it's really, really hot and humid, and then winter's back, and you're like, Jesus
know.
Christ, everything just like the year's gone already.
I know, but that's another thing. Like Wisconsin, like because you grew up here too, so it's like the summer sucked because they're so hot and humid.
So hot, you can't breathe.
I know, so many bugs outside.
Isn't that the worst? You can't
It
even
is.
enjoy it, or
No.
it's either. I really like the like 70-ish range,
Yeah, it's
but then all of a
perfect.
sudden it gets up to like 80, and like it rained last night, so you're
Yep.
just like cooking outside, and you're like, yeah, I wanted to look cute, but I'm sweating, and now I have
Yeah.
sweat marks on my shirt,
that's like, I sweat so much.
and it's like I can't even look cute now. I smell like shit, and
Right, it's over. It's over for me.
anyways, I could go about it. Whatever.
Yeah, forever. So to give like a brief synopsis of like what you do or what you're known for. I mean, you do a lot of things, but like what you're known for right now in this current moment. What would you say that is?
I rap and stuff.
And stuff.
Yeah.
What's the stuff?
The stuff like I don't know. I dabble in the singing, but I wouldn't consider myself like a singer.
Right.
But I dabble in like melody. I don't know. I don't even know how to like really describe it.
Is that like a hard thing to do? Because I feel, are you worried that people are gonna like hate on you if you call yourself a singer? Because like I would just be like, if I sing, then I'm a singer, I guess.
If I only sang, I don't think I would do that well.
If that's all you did.
Yeah. So that's why I don't.
Yeah.
But I like to mix it up because I feel like when I'm sitting in like that pocket of like the comfortable range that I can sing in, I feel like I do really well. But then people are like, oh, you want to sing on this song? And it's like a little out of my range on where I'm supposed to be, like, I guess as an octave. I don't know anything about like music theory. So people are going to be like, that's not what you call it. But anyway.
How dare you?
Yeah, damn it, Shle. But there are times when I feel a little bit out of my comfort zone. And those are the times when I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, well, how did you get into rap initially? Is that kind of what you did? Is it, because I'm a terrible singer. I'm also a bad rapper as well.
I bet you're really good with the music turned up really loud.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You
I mean, I'm good as singer with the music turned up really loud too. But is that how you initially got into it, or did it start as something else?
It started as poetry.
Okay.
I felt really misunderstood as a kid.
Sure.
So I didn't like talking to anyone. So I just started writing stuff down, like venting
Yeah.
my thoughts, my fears.
Were you like afraid to talk to people or like about
Yeah, I
the
didn't
stuff
want
that
to
was
be
going through
judged.
your
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to say weird, but I don't feel like weird is the right word. Maybe like eccentric. Maybe that's a better word.
Yeah.
I just didn't know who I was growing up.
Yeah.
And then I had those feelings of like, I might be gay. So I pushed that away.
Yeah.
I let my hair grow really long to like maybe
Compensate or something.
overcompensate for it. Like, I'm not gay because I have long hair. Like,
Right.
you think when you're a kid, you're like anything to
Anything
not be pointed out in the crowd. I wanted to fit in so badly. And then all my friends started getting into like drinking at a really young age, and I was just never into that.
Yeah.
So, and I had, problems with family life, and I didn't think anyone would really understand. So I was pretty like,
You were like
I don't want
closed
to say
off.
lonely, but I didn't talk about that
Right.
type of stuff with like people at school. I was like,
Yeah.
nah.
Well, in your family too, you just didn't feel like they would be cool with it?
No. My parents were like never really, really together. I do remember like brief moments of them like living together for short periods of time, but they just didn't get along. So I think it was for the best that they just didn't stay together. I think it was kind of a toxic thing for them, which also would lead to me having like a toxic upbringing, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So I just had a lot of like weird, I don't know, I was embarrassed in school that I had 2 phone numbers and 2 addresses, and I had 2 last names until I turned 18. like my parents just couldn't get along about anything. So I had a hyphenated last name. I had my mom's last name hyphenated with my dad's last name. And that was just embarrassing.
Right.
To me.
That's hard
like,
too.
Yeah,
because you didn't get to choose any of that.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you can tell that my parents don't get along.
Yeah.
Go me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just,
they can't even like come together for this.
right.
This
I'm like,
one
this
thing.
is stupid. So I dealt with a lot of adversity in that regard.
Yeah. And so writing that stuff down like really helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like getting it out.
Right.
I don't know when it initially like started. I can't really like point at a time, but it was definitely probably around like middle school, high school.
Okay.
That I started like being more self-aware of these feelings and like being aware that like my family life wasn't the norm and it made me feel very isolated.
Right.
Yeah.
It gets worse because like I had a similar experience, but with a completely different thing where like I have OCD. So like when I grew up, I was having like these really, really like awful thoughts that were like embarrassing to have. And I like didn't want to talk about them to anyone. So I like purposefully like never talked about it and like never told anyone, but then that made me feel even worse.
Right. It like didn't help.
Right. And that like made me want to like retreat more and like not talk to people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's tough. Like, especially when you get to, you know, high school and stuff when everything is like changing in your body too.
And you think it's so important. Like people think high school is like this like important time in your life. And when you're living it, it is. But like now that I graduated, I'm like, why did I care so much? Why did I put so much pressure on myself? Like,
Right.
All those kids were chumps anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I even like bothered by it? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with you in that regard. It was like you feel it, so you push yourself away, which then just makes it worse.
Makes it even worse.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
So when did you talked about at a young age, like not wanting to, I guess, accept, being gay. Like when did that kind of come around for you and where you were okay with it?
I literally never, ever, ever remember being into like wearing girl clothes. I remember being in my uncle's wedding. I was like 4 or 5 and my mom forced me to wear a dress and I cried. I was so mad at her for making me wear a dress. Yeah. And it was just this thing that I think everyone knew. And I didn't like that everyone knew.
Or like made the assumption or whatever.
Yeah, so I didn't get to like own that by myself.
Right.
I didn't want anyone to be right. I'm like, you don't fucking know me.
Yeah.
You know, like then I was like, nah. I was like, yeah, I like guys. And like, well, who? And I'm like, fuck. And then you're just like making shit up. You're like,
Alex,
what's that one
Alex,
guy?
He's cool.
Yeah. And I probably didn't come out until I was like 21, which seems really late. Yeah. Considering that I've like known for so long. And my parents never put any pressure on me. I never like, they were never like, oh, we know you're gay and we're kicking you out. So I don't know why I was so like apprehensive.
I mean, it's scary. It's a scary thing.
It definitely is. Like all my friends knew. We didn't talk about it, but like they knew.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I didn't have like a rough coming out experience, but it was still fucking terrifying.
You have this thing that's like so culturally like put into you, like, oh, you're different, so like it must be bad, you know what I mean? And like you see all these stories that come out about like people that do come out to their parents, and it is awful, right?
And I like that stuff breaks my heart because I'm like, I had a rough experience even when people were accepting of me, so I can't even imagine what that felt like. And then it also really rattled my idea of God, and I'm like, if I'm having these feelings and like I can't seem to shut them off, I can't seem to make them like go away, I can't shake it, and God created me in his own way, why are there like these stipulations into being accepted by God? Like I had a really, really rough time with that. But my parents weren't very religious, so there wasn't a lot of pressure. I guess I was just like not understanding where I was supposed to fit in,
right? Type
of thing with society.
Did music help with that? Like,
definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I became very fearless. Yeah. When I started writing. I don't know what the disconnect was, because it was like you're talking about those things publicly, but you won't tell anyone. So like it didn't make sense. Right. But there was just something that was so comfortable and so emancipating about like being able to write it down in a very like artistic way and just like give it out and just like let it spill. Yeah. I don't know what it was. It was just this like magical feeling, and I don't know how to describe it. I just, when you're feeling it,
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. So when did those, like, when did you started writing at a young age, and when did you kind of transition that into like making that into music?
I had a group of friends who were also very like outcast.
Okay.
And I clicked with them like immediately. And we would just get into trouble. Like that's what we would do. Like the outcast, like, yeah, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to own this title.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of my friends had this like bootleg DAW that he was really into computer science, and like he knew how to download anything on the internet, and he downloaded this just because he could. That's like who he was.
Just to prove that he could.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
That's like who he was. Yeah. He got this bootleg, it was called Cool Edit Pro. And he's like, look, we could like record our voice on here. And I'm like, what the hell are we gonna do with that?
Yeah.
Like, cool, dude.
Yeah.
And so then there was a day that he was like, I found some beats online. We should rap on these. And I was like, I don't know how to do that.
Are you gonna?
I listened to Lil
rap?
Wayne, but like I don't know how to actually do that.
Yeah.
So it was like a joke at first.
Yeah.
Just to do something with my friends, and then all of a sudden we started doing it, and I was like, this is actually really fun.
Yeah.
So then we like made a group, a rap group, a really lame rap group.
What was the group called? Do you
LPG.
What does that
Stood
stand
for Lollipop Gang.
Okay.
Which was inspired by the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I was like, that'd be kind of cool. There's 3 of us. They each have like a favorite color that we like. I don't even know why. I don't know why, but we like ran with it.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting to a point where I was like, I think I could like really do this. We were getting enough feedback.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing a lot of work for it. And I was like, do you guys want to like help me do a lot of the work?
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to,
I'm
going solo.
You seem pretty pointless.
Yeah,
to be in here.
and that sucked because we ended up like not being friends for a while because they were really mad at me for like leaving.
Well, were they interested in it at the same level as you were, though?
I think they thought they were. I think everyone thinks that they are.
Right. Yeah.
But
Everyone
then
thinks,
it's like, yeah, but if you were putting in the work, it would show.
Right. Exactly. It comes to the execution.
Yes.
You know, like everybody wants to do everything, but like,
So
are you actually?
we would make a song and we would put it up on, God, I don't even remember where we would put it at that point, probably YouTube and
MySpace. Yeah.
So I would take these links and I would go through every single person on my Facebook page, every friend I had, and I would post it on their page. And I would write like, hey, I'm Shle. Here's my new song. Check me out. I would spam the shit out of people. I thought that was the best way to get known.
It's guerrilla marketing or whatever.
And it would take me hours.
Oh, I bet.
Hours. And they would be like, hey, thanks.
Really?
I'm like, I'll just go fuck myself. It's cool.
Whatever.
So it was that kind of stuff where I was like really trying to get us to the next level.
Sure.
And they like, I don't think they knew what that meant or they weren't that passionate about it.
Right.
But there was something that struck a chord with me with like the writing and the like expression and like just spilling everything that's on your mind. I was like, you know what? Let's just see where this goes.
Yeah.
God, that was so long ago. I was like
17
when I was like in that group, 17, 18. And
so that like disbanded, then you went
I went solo when I was like 20, like right when I came out. I like went solo. And
so what was your style in that group? Was it similar to when you started going solo, or did it change too?
Yeah, it was similar. Like I just talked about things that the only thing I know. Like we would make songs that were like, we get bitches in cars and we're like, that's what cool kids talk about. But like not at all.
Yeah.
Had no girlfriends, had no money, had no cars. Had, like nothing. We like, played Halo and ate Cheetos and bought Jolt energy drinks and
which would be a cool song if I'm
right. And I don't know why we didn't just talk about that. So, but then it started to progress of like, now there's no pressure to like collaborate.
Yeah.
I can just talk about whatever I want to talk about.
Sure.
And that's when I really started dabbling in singing because I didn't have to ask them for permission. It was just like, let's just see. Because I grew up listening to a lot of R&B. I grew up on Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and then Justin Timberlake left, and he had his solo album. I was super into that. Boyz II Men, Usher, all those like early 2000s
those quintessential
R&B.
groups. Yeah,
I was so into that. But I was like, I could never be a singer, right? But then,
you can do it.
Like now, I kind of like know my stride.
Yeah,
but so I was very invested in singing before rap even came along.
So were your tracks early on, were they more heavily singing?
No. I was just too afraid to.
Okay. You just really wanted to do it, but you just weren't going to do it.
No, I was like, nah.
The next one. I'll do it on the next one.
I'm a hardcore rapper.
Yeah.
And then 50 Cent came out and I was obsessed with that man. I thought he was the coolest thing in the world. I bought all of his G Unit clothes. I looked awful in them. I don't think anyone looked good in G Unit clothes. You're right, and they were so ugly. And my parents were like, oh, "Okay, if that's what you want to wear,
this is what you want to do."
Wearing double XL clothes, sagging my jean shorts. Oh my God, it was so embarrassing. But I thought it was the coolest shit.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I was just obsessed with the idea of like his life. Like it was like
he's like one of the guys that he made it. You know, he's doing like well.
Like came out of like this shitty situation and
he
ended
got
up
shot
like
5 times. He's still living.
I was so obsessed with it, and I don't know what it was about it because I had listened to rap before. My dad was really into rap music. He didn't really like when I listened to like the Tupac, the Biggie stuff because they cussed a lot. They talked about women in derogatory ways, and he's like, we're not going to really listen to this. So he really liked R&B music, and some of those old school hip hop kids like Slick Rick and things of that nature. He would really listen to Tribe Called Quest, things like that were less like aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, 50 Cent was massive in the early 2000s.
I know, and I don't know what it was that it just,
he was huge.
It must have just been the right place at the right time.
Right.
That really like hit me. But I didn't feel inspired to rap by him. I just fell in love with rap because of him.
Sure.
And it wasn't until Drake that I was like, oh, I can talk about
whatever
my feelings.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's run with this. And then Drake sang a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, all of a sudden my mind was just like blown. I was like, wait, isn't this wheelchair kid from Degrassi? I was like, this can't be this has to be a joke. Yeah. And then he dropped a bunch of music with Lil Wayne and he ended up signing with Young Money. And I was like, dude, this guy's like for real. And I remember like him dropping his first album, like that mixtape. And that album changed my life. It literally...
What was that called?
So Far Gone.
Okay.
The way that he wrote and the way that he articulated himself and the way that he was so vulnerable in his music, I was like, man, I've never heard a rapper, whether they existed or not, because of course they did, but like for my own perspective, I had never heard anything like that before about him talking about getting his heart broken and being like scared and singing about like this girl at 3 a.m. who doesn't fuck with him. I'm like, man, I feel that. Like, I really feel that.
Yeah.
And I've watched myself progress, not with him, but I really started getting into my own music in 2009 when I graduated high school.
Okay.
It's like when I left the group.
Okay.
And it was just kind of ironic, the timing with Drake and I, that he was like, I don't know. And people that know him now, he's more of a pop artist now. So when I talk about Drake as being one of my favorite rappers,
people
they
like,
roll their eyes.
Yeah.
They're like...
Similar to when Drake first came out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I didn't fall in love with Drake because of his mainstream stuff. I fell in love with Drake because of how
he did it.
And like the things that he was willing to talk about. I was like, yes, like I can talk about stuff like that. And that's really what, like, the inspiration from that. I'll never... It's crazy to think like a person changed your life that you never met. And I know that maybe one day I'll get to that point. It'll just be this overwhelming, like if I ever meet Drake and would you like freeze? What would happen? I don't know. I think it would just be it would definitely be an overwhelming experience just because of like what he's done for me. Right. And I don't even know how he processes that on like a normal basis about like, I don't even know you. Right. And you're telling me because it probably happens a lot. Yeah. I bet it does. Yeah. Especially like an artist of his caliber. Yeah. That stuff like blows me away. But
yeah, because he, at the beginning when he started I think another thing probably that a lot of people connected with was that like he could have stopped. After that mixtape, he got shit on so much. For like putting out his feelings and being this guy that sang a little bit and rapped and stuff. Like he got hated on so much. He could have just been like, actually, it's not worth it. and still to this day, I mean, there's like memes of Drake and all that stuff. Like
he is the meme king, man.
Right?
He gets roasted all the time,
but he just keeps going. He
does,
you know, and he has a massive amount of success doing that. So, but yeah, that's the thing that I always think about when I think about Drake is like, man, just everyone just hated on him.
They did,
and then all of a sudden,
maybe that's another reason why I liked it so much.
Yeah,
it was like this. I know what it's like to feel,
yeah,
like as the outsider, wanting to be yourself, and that's all he really wanted to do. So maybe that's why I like really connected with him in that regard.
Right. He wanted to be in this genre where everything that he was saying and doing was looked down upon and not accepted. Like essentially, that's what he did.
That's my guy. That's my ticket right there.
That's the guy. So when did you start, like, because you have a more recent album or EP out called Parallels.
Yes.
Was that your first kind of, I guess, not like so just releasing like singles, or was that your first like piece together, like a project, or was there other ones before that?
The one before it was called Yellow Streak, and that was in 2017.
Okay.
And it was a project that I was trying to test myself on. Can I release this package? Can I do it efficiently? Can I, make the music, mix and master it, get some cool album art, make some promo, do a show? Am I capable? And then when it happened and I succeeded at all the things that I wanted to check off my list, I was like, okay, now that I know the building blocks of this, I'm going to kill it next time. And that's what Parallels was. It was like, now I kind of know what I have to do. Yeah. Let's just see if I really, really just put my foot on the gas.
So how many songs were on that first album in 2017? 4. Okay.
Yep. Which was kind of short for an EP, in my opinion. I think like EPs are really, really comfortable around like maybe 5, 6, 7 range. Yeah. I think anything after that, you're kind of an album at that point.
Right. What's the difference?
I don't know. Like mixtape, EP, album, I don't even know anymore.
You're just putting out music.
I am. I am.
That's
from my understanding,
awesome.
An EP is like a mini album.
Okay. Gotcha.
Maybe.
I mean, that makes sense.
That's just my perspective of it.
Based on seeing it, that makes sense.
So
was that project then, was that the first one you did, was it more of just like, was there any sort of like cohesive story in the album, or was it just like, I'm just going to put out and see what happens?
Yellow Streak, if you look up the definition, is like showing signs of like cowardice. Okay. And I really liked that because I think rap has a reputation for being the opposite of that. It's very,
gloaty and kind of in your face.
In your face, braggadocious. Yeah. Right. And I was like, that's not me at all. So I do have like a yellow streak down my back. I'm okay with showing that I do have like cowardly parts in me. And those cowardly parts of me really built me and made me stronger. Yeah. And like I needed those to even be where I am. So I talked about a lot of those things in the album.
And so when it came around to Parallels, and that you got a bunch of awards for that.
Yeah, that was really overwhelming. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah. So when you put that out, because how long after were the Radio Milwaukee Awards when you won the Independent Release of the Year?
So I released it in October, and then all of that stuff started happening.
Was that an end of the year thing?
Yeah, it was like December.
So pretty
November,
quick.
December. Yeah. And all of a sudden, Shepherd Express was picking it up. Radio Milwaukee was picking it up. All the like Journal Sentinel was picking it up. And I was like, holy shit. Okay.
This is a lot.
Yeah. And I was like, I really started like questioning myself. And I started, you hear people chirping about it. You hear people that are like, oh, Shle doesn't deserve that. Who's this Shle girl? She came out of nowhere. And I'm like, I worked hard for this shit. Like,
right. Does that bother you?
Oh my God, it bothers the shit out of me because people make it seem like I didn't earn that. Right. And I'm like, oh, I did. Yeah. I've been through the ringer, man. I didn't know who I was for a long time. I made really shitty music for a really long time. And I just started to focus on myself. Right. And I stopped being so bitter about the scene. And I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's everyone's problem, is that they're so bitter about like not having what so-and-so has that instead of working hard for it, they just bitch about it. Right. And it's like, if you would stop bitching and go work on something, maybe you would be farther. And that's what I did. I was like, I'm going to stop bitching about the things that I want and I'm just going to work for them.
Right.
And then things just started happening.
And also you spend less time at your keyboard because you're out doing stuff, you know, you're not like,
I'm
searching.
not like, hey, I'm working on this. No one cares.
Yeah.
Just go work on it and then release it.
Right. Exactly.
No one cares that you made a banger last night. No one cares. I don't know why people do that shit. I'm like, that's great. When am I going to hear it? Or they're like, yeah, I might come out with an album next month. You might?
Yeah, you know, the funny thing to me is like, oh yeah, I made this really dope song last night or something. Someone like will say that, and the comments will be like, oh, that sounds good. How can it sound good? It's not out yet.
I know. I'm like, why do people do that?
Yeah.
Why? You clearly aren't working that hard. You have enough time to talk about it online. You could have used that time to plan a good rollout execution for it.
Right.
And I had to learn that stuff too. You're like, okay, I make music. I'm going to drop it tonight. And you realize that that's not great marketing. So you have to like save all the songs that you make, pick the good ones. And you're like, okay, now that I have the good ones, would these sound good together? Right. And then you start picking the ones that sound good together. And then you're like, all right, now that I have this stuff, we need cover art. We need a trailer. We need a marketing tactic. We need a show to release. We need a video. We need a single. We need promo. We like, there's so much stuff that people don't understand that goes into this. And I was talking to Sammer about this recently, and I was like, people think just because they make good art that they deserve something. Yeah. And that's not how that works. Like, there's a lot of really, really great artists who make really, really great art in this city. Right.
That will never be heard or seen.
Because you have to put in the other work for it. Right. I think, and I said this in a recent podcast, but I was like, making music takes up like 20% of my career. Yeah. Actually curating music is such a sliver to the pie. Right. Yeah. Everything else that's involved with it, like, you know, the recording, the mixing, the mastering, and like everything that I just previously said, like people have no idea how much goes into getting opportunities. Right. And then it's like, once you get an opportunity, you got to fucking kill it. Right. Once you get your foot in the door, if you're not ready, no one's going to care. They're going to be like, yeah, that we gave this guy a chance and he fucking bombed it. Yeah. So why would you get another one?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. And again, this is all because of experience. I've had shitty shows. I've had really bad experiences in the past. I've made bad decisions. I'll come up with songs. It's all part of it, you know? Yeah. So like, I don't know. I see a lot of local artists complain that they're not getting the opportunities they want, or that like their friends like deserve more and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why are you online complaining about it?
Right. Go do something about it.
And if you don't know how, maybe you should ask people who you admire or who are getting those opportunities. Like, hey, how are you doing this? Give me some guidance. Give me something. Right. But instead we like put all this negative energy into the city. Like, oh, Milwaukee is lame because none of the people fuck with me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, right. No one wants to fuck with you now because you're bitching about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's not making me want to listen to your music. Right. Whatever. I don't.
Like a pity party online.
Yeah, no. Great. Get back to work. Like, I don't know what else to say to you. Yeah. So,
well, the thing about that is, do you know who Brene Brown is? She's like a psychologist, and she has this special on Netflix where she was talking. It's about like shame and all this stuff in people. And one of the things she was talking about was what you were talking about, how, you know, there's a lot of people who essentially aren't in the arena of life. You know, they're in the stands, and those are usually the critics, the people that are throwing shit at you and being like, you suck and all this stuff. But like, those are the people that you can't listen to because they're not down there fighting with the lions with you. They're
like, why should I take advice from someone who's not in the place I want to be?
Right. Or not willing to fail. Yeah. You know, they're waiting for other people to. Yeah. So they can be like, oh yeah, look at that. Their life is worse than mine. Yeah. All right, now I'm back to the
That's a really good metaphor about like the lions.
Yeah. It's like,
everyone thinks they're a lion.
Right.
That's the funny part.
Yeah.
And that was also something I really had to learn, because even when I was in my group, we thought we were working hard. We're like, yeah, we do music and we're taking it serious because we drop a song once a month. Like, we thought that was really cool. And we're like, we just have to have the right person see it, and then all of a sudden we'll take off. Right. And then all of a sudden next year you start seeing what other people are doing, and like this momentum builds. And like last year, I remember it was January 1st. It was like the new year rang, and I was with all my I guess you could call them my team, but I was like, I'm gonna put the blinders on, and I'm just gonna give this every ounce of me. every moment, anytime I have free time, I'm gonna just work on something. And when I stopped comparing myself to other people in the city, and I decided to just get better and not get bitter, it can't be a coincidence.
Is that a line in your song? Because that would be really good.
I talk about it a lot. People are probably like, here Shle goes again, talking about the same shit. And I don't know. I want the city to do well. I have a genuine love for this place. It's very unique. We have a very unique music scene. And there are so many talented artists, and I wish that they would just apply themselves in other places, because you need to understand somewhat of professionalism and somewhat of like business to understand that you can't just be an artist anymore. You can't. Anyone can get a microphone. Anyone can make beats on their Mac. It's like you have to understand both sides of the fence to really get anywhere. You have to understand marketing, you have to understand people, and you have to know how to combine those things. And
you got to be willing to fail though too, because like
absolutely
that decision that you made, that is a decision that a lot of people don't make, because if you have one foot in the door and one foot out the door, you can still slip out the door.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it's not, you're not failing.
No.
You know, if you put everything you have into something, you also have to realize that like eventually one day it also could not work out.
Absolutely.
And you have to be okay with that. And I think a lot of people aren't.
No,
because they feel like, oh, it's a waste.
And I think the adversity that I had dealt with as a kid, all I knew was like failing. So I like wasn't afraid, because at that point I was like, yeah, okay, if I don't make it, like whatever. Like,
I had fun while it lasted.
Exactly. And but yeah, to your point, a lot of really cool things started happening at the end of last year, and now I'm coming out with a new EP in a month.
I heard
and I'm
that.
feeling really pressured, and because the last one did well, and now I think people are like,
there's an
what
expectation.
Is she gonna what is she gonna do next? If this EP flops, it's gonna feel like it was a fluke, and I just don't want it to feel that way.
I feel like if you work hard like you do, and like this is what I was gonna say, like when I saw you at the exclusive record company right down the street, I'm like, wow, this is crazy dope. Like this is cool. Like your style is so unique.
Thank you.
You know, and like the music from the songs that I've heard, you know, online and heard you perform, I'm like, this is really dope. You know, the first thing I thought of when I was like watching you perform, and this is like a bad metaphor, but like I thought of Logic.
That's actually really dope, because me and my boys are like, we grew up on Logic and like watching him like grow, and like make it. We're like, yo, that is some cool ass underdog shit.
I know. In college when he first, because I was in college when he was first like releasing like Young Sinatra and all that stuff,
which were all amazing.
I know,
mixtapes.
Oh, crazy. And I'm like, man, this kid is gonna be like so dope. And like, there you go. I have his book right there. He wrote a book actually.
Supermarket.
Did
you read it?
No, I haven't read it yet.
Okay, let me know.
I
haven't read it yet either.
I'm kind of not, I don't know what the word is, but I'm not expecting much.
And why would you, right? Like you don't really know,
because I don't think it's like
I think it's fiction. Yeah, it's not like an autobiography. It's like a story that he just made up. So I'm like, I'm
interested to see.
I totally agree. I want to hear your opinion,
because I love everything else that he does, and I'm interested to see. But that's what it kind of reminded me of. I'm like, because he came at like the rap game or whatever with a completely different style again, you know, and like did something that a lot of people don't do, which is like, you know, preach more positivity and not talk about like, you know, all the cars and stuff that he had and blah, 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 all this stuff, because he didn't have any of that stuff. But he was just authentic. And I think that's what you gotta be, you know?
Because you can't turn it off. Like as an artist, I can't turn off Shle. I can't just like take off my work shirt. I'm still her even after I step off stage. It's a hard thing to keep up too. Oh, dude, it's awful. You could never like go to interviews or do anything. You have to be, okay, who do I have to be? Okay, that person. All right. That's rough. And it's like people think that I shouldn't be offended when people don't like my music. And it's like, in the bigger scheme of things, like I understand that not everyone is going to click with it. But at the end of the day, like what I'm saying is just an extension of me. So I take it fucking personal. It's like I'm telling you my life. And there's, I don't know, I hate the competition in rap. And I know it's like at the core of it, it's at like the essence of what it is, but there's no such thing as the best, because it's like, it's an opinion. It's how can someone be the best at telling their story? it's their story.
Right. And it's also
It's
just an opinion.
that.
It's
Yeah.
someone's opinion. Like, oh, that's the best rapper.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, well,
I could go outside right now and find 10 random people on the street, and I was like, who are your top 5 favorite rappers? I bet you each of them would give me a different 5.
oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
because it's like your favorite rapper is always someone that just like strings a chord inside you.
Yeah.
And if they don't, you're like, yeah, I respect them as an artist. For example, I know I'm gonna get hate for this, but like I just never really click with Jay-Z.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he is phenomenal as a rapper.
Yeah.
I just never got into him, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just like,
But that always bugs me too.
I was maybe too young to get into it when he was like in his prime. Like, I don't know what it was, but people get really upset with me that
Right.
I'm not a big Jay-Z fan. And it's not like I don't respect him, because I do very much.
Right. Yeah. And why do you have to defend that? Can't you just like things and
I guess
not like
not.
things?
No, I guess not. Not in rap. Not at all.
It's like you have to like
I'm
everybody.
gonna get roasted.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man. Okay.
You're like, Jay-Z, we're gonna come egg her house.
Well, here's the thing. I don't I don't really like Tupac. Like I never have gotten into it. It's not me. If you saw me, there's not a single person that you could ask, be like, oh yeah, he listens to Tupac.
For sure. For sure. And it's not anything with him. It's just like there was something about it that just didn't speak to you.
Right. And a lot of it is like how you grow up too. You know, I wasn't listening to, there's no nostalgia for me listening to Tupac.
Right.
He doesn't exist anymore. So like he's not making new music.
No,
I can't jump on like, oh man, this song was dope. But yeah, it's just funny how people get on your business. I think
it's like also a timing on like, I don't know, when you're impressionable as a kid, you listen to music differently. I'm like not as impressionable as I was as a kid. So like when I listen to music now, I'm more of a critic. I'm not like just absorbing it like I would have. Yeah. Right. Cause like I have younger siblings who like a lot of this new music that I'm like, oh, that stuff's crap. Right. But I was that kid when I was his age and my parents were like, what is this shit? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's awesome. And now I'm getting older and I'm doing that to my siblings. I'm like, fuck, this is what I went through. I can't do that to them. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. Cause I mean, as a kid, I was listening to like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys too.
And like who didn't at our age?
I mean,
who didn't?
I mean, but guys listening to it, even that young, people for sure were like, yeah, you're gay for that. And I'm like, can I just like a group of singers?
Right. They're not talking about being gay. Like, they're talking about girls. And I have relationships with girls. What's so wrong about that?
Right. They get more ladies than you all get. So
literally,
I'm definitely not. I wish I would have said that when I was younger, but I didn't think.
No, I was not slick back then at all. Like, okay, you cry and run.
That's horrible. You're mean.
You're so mean.
Yeah. But anyways, back to your music. So where is this? You're releasing is it an EP at the end of the month? Mm-hmm. What is it called?
It's called Tampons.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the is it the cover art that you released?
Sam shot it. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course he did.
Yeah.
He's I think there's probably, I have a theory that there's like 6 of him around.
You'd think.
Yeah.
But I see all 6 of them every day.
It's crazy though how many places he is.
I know. And he's a really, 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 really good dude.
He is. He's one of the best people I think I've met.
He is incredibly kind and incredibly thoughtful, and he's always willing to help me personally or creatively. And I've never met someone ever that I can like shoot an idea at, and he's like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. I'm like, okay, sick.
And the thing about him is, we're gonna go on a compliment train, but like he's genuinely just is a nice person. Yeah. Like he's not like doing this to try to get more business or like because he cares. Like he genuinely is just a really good person.
No, and I think that's why we click, because that's like where I'm at with music. Like we have the same feeling about art. Like he's not doing it to make money. I'm not doing it to make money. Do I want to? Yes. Yeah, that'd be nice. But I know I have to do all this stuff first, and I just want to make really, really good art. And so does he. Yeah. And once we do all that, maybe we'll get endorsed by Vans or something crazy later. You know, I know all that stuff is going to come, but we just got to kill the art first. And him and I are getting really good at collaborating together. Like every project that I've done with him now, it gets better and better. Yeah. And we just get more creative in the process.
So where do you think like your style and like how you rap, like where does that come from? Has that always been like the way you've done it? Because it is unique. Like the delivery is unique, I think, at least for sure.
I don't know. I've never been asked that. I don't.
Is it just something that happened?
Yeah, I guess.
Think about when you were in that group. Were you like rapping the same way as you are now, or has it changed a lot?
No, I think my approach is the same. You like listen to a beat over and over and over and over and over, and then you just try to like fit in your little syllables. It's like a puzzle, and I love it. Which is way different because Sammer's also in a band, and Sammer finds it very intriguing because he can write the lyrics first and then play to the lyrics. Yeah. And I'm the exact opposite because the rap scene is different. Like there's producers who sell beats on YouTube. So like, I like this beat. I'm going to put these words on it. Yeah. So I have to fit it inside that. Yeah. Which is, it can be challenging at times because you get stuck because you're like, it has to fit. And it's like not, I have this one more syllable. Yeah. So I end up like cutting certain words out. I'm like, I hope it still fucking makes sense what I'm trying to say. I had to cut that syllable out. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where
that came from. It just kind of came out.
No. And I started just getting a lot more comfortable with like switching my flow. Yeah. And I'll rap 4 really heavy bars and then I'll reel it in and like sing a line or two and then I'll come back. And I don't know. I've never thought about that. Yeah. It comes pretty naturally.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the answer. That's kind of how you do it.
It does. Yeah. Maybe it was just the influence at the right time with the things that I was listening to that were like, I could throw a little bit of this in there. A little bit of this. Yeah. A little spice, everything nice. Like
then there you go. Yeah. So performing like live when I saw you, do you remember your first gig that you performed live? Was it how it was
fucking awful.
Where was it?
It was at the Hot Water Warehouse, which is now the Cooperage. Okay. And I remember very vividly being scared out of my mind, so I brought my best friend up on stage to be my hype man, just so I wasn't up there by myself. Yeah. And he didn't know what the hell he was doing either. I'd like rap some lines, he's like, yeah. And then he would like go walk over there. Yeah, like there's no cohesiveness, nothing. And there were a bunch of mic stands in front of the stage, and I was too chicken shit to move them. Oh, okay. So like my parents who came to watch, and they're like trying to film on their phone. There's just mic stands in front of me. It was so embarrassing. And I was rapping over my own vocals. Oh really? And, oh my god, it was awful. It was awful, but I made like $40, so I guess it was cool.
There you go.
Like, say we can go get tacos or something.
Like, I've done it. Yeah. So your parents, have they been supportive of this? Have your parents been supportive of like you doing?
They weren't really sure at first. Sure. Because it's like, okay, yeah, you want to make music, okay, right. But there was recently, my aunt passed away late February, and it was very sudden.
Sorry to hear that.
It really, no worries. It really started making me think about like how fragile life is, and you know, her kids now have to deal with this like abrupt change in their life. And I was like really, really thinking about like my parents, and I'm like, man, I really appreciate them more than I give off. Yeah. And I ended up like texting my parents like this really sappy shit the other day, and I was like bawling my eyes out typing it out, but I was like, I just appreciate you so much. I care about you guys. I appreciate everything that you guys done. And my dad ended up messaging me back, and he was like, when I have bad days at work, I listen to your music and it cheers me up. And I know that you're going to help other people too. And I just I was at work and I was just bawling because he had never like said something like that to me in regards to like the music. Sure. It's always been like, Dad, did you hear my new song? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. All right. See ya. Like cool. It was never there was no depth. Right. But I think now that they're seeing, you know, I'm in the paper and like I've been getting these opportunities, they're kind of like, oh, she's like really, really taking it serious. And I think my dad has been like really, really listening. Yeah. So the fact that I was a mess the other night, I was just bawling my eyes. I was very emotional.
Well, that's gotta be like a really cool, like, thing to hear, especially if you grew up, like, you know, how you grew up, like,
it was very validating.
To get that, confirmation from your parents. So, like, I guess on that also, has there been any, like, what has been a really cool experience besides that with your dad, like that you have had through doing music? Has there been like someone who listens to your music that came up to you at a concert or at a show and was like, oh yeah, like your music really?
Yeah. People tell me that the things that I say help them like have a voice. I'm like paraphrasing. Yeah, sure. Because they'll send me like really long things, people that I've never even met. It's really overwhelming, back to like the Drake thing, but not to the same level by any means. But you have these people like DM you and they're like, I heard your song this, and you know, I was dealing with that too, and you know, I thought I was the only one that felt that way, and all of a sudden you're realizing that you're like helping people heal.
Right.
Just because I'm telling you guys about my pain, that all of a sudden someone's like, oh, I'm not by myself. Yeah. And it helps. I don't know, that I get it every once in a while. And I feel like I always get it in times that I'm like on the edge of like giving up. Cause I think about giving up probably like once a week. I'm like, this is bullshit. This is hard. Yeah. I'm never going to make it. I'm not, the mountain is so tall. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, I'll just get a DM and someone will just spill their heart out about how like this song like really affected them. And I'm just like, okay, I guess I can't fucking quit. Like I guess I have to keep going. Yeah. I'm like, all right, that gave me some juice. Yeah. But that's been really overwhelming too. Because when I write about it, sometimes I'm writing about it in a place of like loneliness, right? Like I think I'm the only one experiencing that. Right. So it's also therapeutic for me to hear people say that, because like I was dealing with that too. Right. And then we get to almost connect in that way, because I'll respond. I try to respond to everything that I can. And we get to have a moment, and that makes people like lifelong fans. Yeah. Not like that's why I talk about stuff like that, but when you get to connect with people on a emotional level, right, they're more invested. And I'm very proud of that, like, I guess, piece of me in my music, that I'm willing to talk about things that maybe other people aren't really willing to talk about. Yeah. Cause is there a stigma? I'm not in the rap community, but is there a stigma, first of all, about being a female rapper in the rap community? Big time. And being gay? Oh, big time. Cause those are like, gay is like really taboo. Yeah. You get like roasted for it. Do you get roasted for it? Maybe behind the scenes, not like to my face. Okay. I'm sure people make jokes and things of that nature, which is crazy to me. You know, what's not? I think it's like out of insecurity to be anything. Rap, like you have to be this like hard ass, Mr. Cool guy. Right. Mr. You have to be from the ego. Yeah. And here I'm like, hey guys, it's Shle, what's up? Yeah. And like I'm making jokes and like laughing, and people are like, who the fuck is this? Yeah. Right? Like that's not what this is. And I think I make people uncomfortable because I'm not like falling into the stigma. I talk about things that make people a little uncomfortable, which is why I'm calling the EP Tampons. Because people are like, what? Ooh. Yeah. Excuse me, what are you calling it? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm like the exist. Antichrist of white men. This is why I'm calling it that. Yeah. And that's why we had in the picture, it's me with all surrounded by white men in white t-shirts, and I'm wearing a red t-shirt. Yeah. And it was really just, we wanted to portray this image of like, I've been revolved around hyper masculinity like my entire life. And they refuse to like see me for what I am. It's like I either make them uncomfortable, maybe there's like an insecurity that's dealing with it, maybe they think I'm corny, maybe. Is this like friends and family you're talking? Like no, not like anyone in particular. Just generally. Just like this general upbringing that I've had. Yeah. That like men always feel the need to like prove a point to me. I grew up playing basketball, and I would play with guys. I'd be the only girl, and there would be men who would like try to go out of their way to like hurt me, to like prove something. Who are these people? Do you know what I'm saying? Though? Yeah, I do know what you're saying. Like, why do I make you feel some type of way? Like I never understood that. And I'm sure it's insecurity. Yeah, and I think society is a big part of that, because they put this stigma on you can't get beat by a girl or you're a chump, right? Right. She kicks like a girl, throws like a girl, all these things. Right. So like if you lose to a girl, you're a chump. And I'm like, you can lose to me because I'm fucking dope. Not because you're bad. On your ass. Yeah, like I have my Nike socks on. Like I'll dunk on you right now. Like I just never, so I always had this like fuck you attitude about everything, because if I didn't, I would get tossed around. But I loved playing basketball, and I loved playing, football with all my friends. And I remember one time, one of my best friends was like, Shle, you want to go play football with some of these kids that I, met at school? I was like, oh yeah. So I got my cleats on. We got ready. And a comment one of the kids made was, am I allowed to tackle her? And my friend replied, you can try. And I was like, that's my guy right there. And I also had something to prove, because it was like, I was a target. And I feel like not only in sports, but now it's kind of, I feel like it's a parallel to rap because rap is also very male dominated.
Sure.
And I do feel a lack of support at times. And I don't know what that is. Maybe they genuinely just don't like the music, which is totally fine. You don't have to. I know that I don't make music for everybody. I know that I have a very like small niche.
Which everybody in the world does, you know?
Right,
if you think
right.
about like the population compared to like even who loves Drake, it's
Absolutely.
like 1%.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hate being called a female rapper because Drake isn't called a male rapper. I hate being called, you know, a femc because...
Is that a real term?
Maybe, I don't know what real means. That's probably relative. I don't know if it's in the dictionary, but I hear people use it.
Yeah, like a new term that exists that people say.
I hate that there has to be a distinction when it's a woman. There's never a distinction when it's a man.
Right.
It always has to be a distinction when it's a woman. And I hate that because it's like, I don't want to be the best female rapper. I want to be the best rapper, period.
Right.
And best is whatever. Maybe I don't mean best, but I'm not out here trying to compete with just girls. I'm trying to compete.
Right. With everybody.
With everyone.
Yeah.
I want to be your favorite artist.
Right.
Not your favorite female artist. I want to be your favorite artist.
Right. Exactly.
So that's I was like, how can what better way to rattle a male dominated egotistical scene than to call my album Tampons? That makes people so uncomfortable.
That is a good point though, because in other genres of music, you don't really see that much.
No.
You don't see, like, even in like indie music or pop music or whatever, there's an all-female band. You don't they're not even really referred to as an all-female band. It's just they're a band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not so heavily dominated by all dudes.
I know. It's fucking awful.
It's crazy how many
So I
dudes
always have to
there.
have like this chip on my shoulder. And I'm sure I've, been an asshole to people because there's been times when I feel like I'm being talked to in a way only because I'm a woman. I'm like, if I was a man, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't even be near saying that shit to me.
Sure. Yeah.
So then I started acting like an asshole and people are like, oh, Shlee's a fucking dick. And I'm like, well, yeah, I
You're
have to be.
treating me like a dick.
Yeah. So when I told the guys that I was calling it tampons, they were like, why? They're like, don't you want people to listen to it? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, nothing will be more satisfying than watching men with ego say, hey, have you heard Shlee's new Tampons album?
It's pretty dope.
I can't wait to see how this lands. And the music on it is like heavier, I guess, than I would normally put out. It's a lot more aggressive on purpose. Yeah. Because it's like, if I'm going to call something Tampons, I got to come with the heat. You got to
hit them hard.
Yeah, I got to come with the heat. So I hope it lands well. Everyone really responded well to the art. I hope that the music...
does the same.
Does too.
Yeah, because I mean, talking about that, I immediately thought of a kid that I grew up with in high school who was exactly like that. He used to punch me all the time, and I'm like, "Ow, why are you punching me?
What's the fuck is your problem?" Right?
Like, Jesus, like you don't. Every time like you come into contact me or I say something, even that's funny, or like you don't have to hit me.
I don't understand that.
Stop doing that. Right. Like, and it hurts actually.
I know, and when we talk about insecurities of like, because obviously women do too. So this isn't just like me bashing men. That's not what this is at all.
It's just the industry you're in. It's very heavily male.
And again, it's like these standards and these stigmas that are put on that men have to think that they have to talk about or do. Yeah. Which is also interesting because we have a lot of like women movements going on now more than ever. It's becoming more of a trend, like the Me Too movement and things like that. And I see male rappers vouching for women in this regard, like, oh, we're gonna go to the march, treat women with respect, like they vouch for them, but then when you listen to their music, it's the opposite.
Right. It's like a contradiction of everything they just said.
And I'm like, I think they want to vouch for women. Right. I don't think they realize what they're doing in the music because they think that's what they're supposed to talk about. Right. It's like almost subconscious that they're like, yeah, bitches and hoes. And then you watch their videos and women are always like an object in rap videos. They're like this accessory next to the car. They're not like a person. They're just this thing that you get to own. Right. And I'm like, you can't talk about the Me Too movement and talk about how you respect women and then you get to put out videos like that. That's sending a confusing message.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know how to. I know I'm not going to fix it. So fix is the wrong word. But I hope that Tampons at least starts some conversations. I'm really hoping for at least that. Yeah,
because I bet a lot of it is that they have curated these audiences that like that kind of music. So like they're terrified to switch anything up.
Absolutely. And when you're making millions of dollars,
who cares?
And you were built off that type of subject, it's like, I can't go back.
I'll just be a liar. I don't care. I'll contradict myself all day.
God, and I just hope I don't do that. Oh, that fame terrifies me. It really does.
Yeah. And I think, it does a lot of terrible things to people, but I also think that if you're at least authentic, I don't think it can do that much to you, because you are who you are.
Yeah. I hope. So I really, you see fame and money really change people. And I really hope to God that I just continue to surround myself with people that keep me grounded, because I don't want to be a douche. Right. There's nothing worse than like having the power to like make change and just being an asshole instead. Yeah. That sucks. It's such a waste of social responsibility.
Right. And I think a lot of those people that do, that let the fame and money get to their head, they were in it for that reason, And so once they get it, they're just like, oh, perft.
Sick.
Now I got what I want.
I can ride on this.
Yeah. I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah. That stuff really bothers me too. And I think we, not only in Milwaukee, but just in general, like it's really easy to like I said before, like go buy a microphone, and people see all the glory and the cool things that come along with being an artist. So like, oh, I can do that. Yeah. And then they chase the dollar and they chase this fame, they chase the attention, and they wonder why nothing ever is like sticking. Right.
Do you know who Mike Stud is?
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to believe so much that he's like a cool dude, but he just doesn't come across that way. I can't believe
that he is. Yeah.
And there are times when like he'll tweet things that are like actually like really sensitive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe he's not an ass. I don't know. I guess I'd really have to meet him, but like the way he comes across in his music, like very,
it's all about sports.
Yeah. And he gets all the girls, and he's a player.
And that concert footage recap.
Yeah, and they always have titties and
everywhere.
Boobs
Yeah,
and
just people taking
so cool.
chugging shots on stage. Chugging shots.
It's like painful, and I'm like, I like his music, but it's hard now with the internet, and like Instagram and Twitter, that like you can't separate the person from the music anymore. You probably could. Back when like there was only radio, all you could do was just listen to someone's music. But now you get to like,
you're a personality with your music.
Yeah. So now I'm like, oh, that makes it. It's so funny that you brought him up, because the guys are going to laugh because we talk about him a lot. And I'm like, he makes good music. He has so much potential. And I wish he just didn't come across like that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope he's a good guy. Maybe I'll meet him one day and maybe we'll hit it off. But that's funny that you say that.
Yeah, because I mean, there was a bunch of people when I was in college. It was like him, like Huey Mack. You know who that is?
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
that was like the start of my like right around the time I started rapping that I like found all of them, Logic and G-Eazy.
Yeah. G-Eazy. Yep. Yeah. And that was when Good Music All Day, that website. Yes. That's how I found like all those people. Yeah.
If you got on a blog, you were the shit. You're like, oh,
you blew up.
Yeah. That's so funny that you say that. And now that like the blog scene is kind of dying, but
But that was like the perfect storm.
Yeah, and like 2 dope boys, and it was like, that's funny.
Literally, you could get like 100,000 views on a video from getting music blogs in like the early,
because those were the curators. They were the gatekeepers of like all the good music.
Yeah.
God, that was so long ago. It doesn't seem like it though.
Yeah, I don't even know if those sites exist anymore.
I don't either.
I don't think
people don't even. Like when I'm dropping a single, I'm not like, oh, what blogs can I hit up? Because it's like it doesn't have the same impact as it did.
Yeah, as it used to.
No.
But yeah, that was G-Eazy was another one that was like, he started making music and he completely changed his persona. Like his first couple albums.
Like, how can we be more marketable?
Right.
Him and his manager, they have videos on YouTube that they'll go back to Loyola where they went to college and where they met, and they have these like open forum discussions about like how they are in the music industry, and that stuff is gold. You guys need to go listen to that stuff. It is gold. And they just came out with another one, but that stuff is so intriguing to me, and I adore that like they go back to where they came from and like they give all this knowledge.
Yeah.
But they said that they had to like change his persona because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Right. Like the marketing wasn't working. So they're like, okay, how do we change this up? And then all of a sudden he had like the run around Sue.
He's like the James Dean guy.
Yeah. And then he got the hair slicked back and that just started sticking. And they're like, we're going to run with this.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you say that because they changed it because it wasn't working.
It's crazy because like his first, like he has a song Rebel, you know, but around that time, like all of his album art was like super bright and like full of colors. And like he was wearing colors all the time. And then like a certain point, it just like, he's wearing all black. He has the undercut all the time.
And you got to respect that because I think another thing that local young artists don't understand is like if something's not working, you need to try something else.
Yeah.
If you keep trying the same thing over and over and you're like, but what the hell? Why isn't it working? It's like you got to try something else. You got to change your approach, dude. Like it's not working for a reason.
Right.
You got to do something else. And they did. And I don't know anyone else that looks like G-Eazy who raps. They killed that. They killed it.
Yeah. But that's so funny. Because I was recently just thinking about that.
That's crazy.
Like he completely,
how old are you?
27.
Okay. We're the same age.
Yeah.
So like you're hitting all the nails on the head with me. I'm like, yeah, dude, I totally know who that is. Yeah. That's funny.
So with this new album release, is there going to be like, are you touring? Are you like music video releases? Are there stuff like that are coming down?
Things change like every day. Like my plan for the year.
Well, nothing. You don't say anything concrete, but like.
Well, Tampons was supposed to be like here's something before the summer.
Yeah.
But some of my plans for the end of the year ended up changing that. Okay. So now this EP I'm putting a lot more weight on it than I had anticipated earlier this year. Yeah. I do plan on going on tour, but not for this album.
Yeah, because you were just at Winona State, right?
Yeah, I opened for Lex. He asked me to open for him, and I was like, abso-fucking-lutely, I will open for you at Winona.
Was that your first out-of-state show?
Yeah.
How was it?
I was very nervous because there was no safety blanket of like having some fans in the crowd. It was if they hate me, I just gotta come at me. I just walk of shame back to the car. No, they liked it because it was actually for like they had like a gay alliance week or something along the lines of that. So when I found that out, I was like, okay, so they're not gonna
they're gonna completely roast
burn,
you.
Yeah, burn crosses outside the road or something like crazy.
Sure.
It was really cool, and it like inspired me to be like, maybe we should hit up like more colleges. Yeah. I think that target or that market is
like right in the sweet spot, especially for the music that you put out. You know, a lot of kids that are in college need to hear that.
They do.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
So as far as this year, is there going to be more music coming after Tampons or?
Yeah, because then I'm going to do Summer Shle. Okay. But it's going to be much later than like usual. It's going to be like at the very, very end of summer. Okay. Because I need breathing room for Tampons to like become its own thing and have some promo for it.
Yeah, you push out the content and be like, actually, I'm doing something else now.
Yeah, I was like, God damn it. Like everything has been planning. You try to plan and then someone throws a pick in it. And you're like, God damn it. I had everything set. Now you ruined it.
Yeah. And I think this podcast is probably going to be released after the EP. So.
Oh, that'd be cool.
This is we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I guess by then we'll be like
there'll be celebrations. Everybody will be so happy that it did well.
That would be great.
Yeah. So do you have a website and stuff that people can go to?
I do. It's shleberry.com. SHLEBERRY.com. I update it pretty often. I try not to be a chump about it. It's like if you have a website, you should probably keep up with it.
Yeah,
not just like page not found. I'm like, fuck,
dang it! I forgot to
update it for like 6 months. Name. Yeah,
darn it.
Yeah.
And all your socials are Shle Berry too. Yeah, Instagram and I don't really go on Twitter.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud if you still feel inclined. YouTube. Yeah, you can look me up on Shle Berry. I should pop up hopefully. Yeah. Apple Music, Spotify.
I think you're the only one out there.
I'm the only Shle Berry, at least
for now.
Artist wise.
Yeah. Well, thanks for
coming.
Now
I'm gonna Google it, and there's gonna be like 6 other ones. No,
I made them. I made them all. Yeah. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it though.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. Yeah. We got to talk about some cool. Really, you're really really good at this. You kept it flowing. I liked it a lot.
We wandered, and it's always crazy because we talked for over an hour and.
It didn't. I could probably keep going. No, it was great.
Part
I'm really,
two, after I've already met you. But yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it very much. Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, sorry. I was
it's got me on camera like she's a chump.